this whole big event, and there was a cocktail hour, and I just didn't know when my clients were going to leave.
So you're making judgment calls now after that cocktails? It's about
I
time.
only had one beer.
It's about time.
Give me a breathalyzer. I'm good. Well, I just drove by a cop too. So
What was going on out front there?
I don't know. It looked like somebody was getting a ticket or something was going on.
Yeah, they waited on Beach, right in the parking lot.
Yeah, no, like it was there was a couple of cars that were pulled over. Maybe there was an accident.
While we're waiting, here's my pet peeve. The cameras on the LIE, the side road for school, you don't see the school because they're they're off the road, but it says 30 miles per hour. No, I haven't in a while because my car beeps. 30 miles an hour speed city limit, but then 20 feet further, because of the camera, it's 25. So you only have 35.
Called the traps.
That's Route 17. You guys ever travel? It goes from 55 to 65 to 55
Yeah.
to 65 the whole way.
I got that going to Hershey Park. It went down. All of a sudden, I said, "What happened?" He goes, "You're in a town now." It was just cow fields. And all of a sudden,
Okay, let's get going.
I'm
Okay, we're going to start now. Welcome to the June 3rd meeting of the Rybrook Zoning Board of Appeals. With us this evening, we have 4 of the 5 members. We also have Village Attorney Robert Sitt, Building Inspector Steve Hughes, and Board of Trustees Liaison David Heiser. Because there are 4 members and not the normal 5, in order for your application to be successful, you'll need 3 of the 4 members voting in favor of the application. Therefore, each applicant has the opportunity to request movement to the July meeting, where hopefully the full board will be present. At this point, we cannot guarantee that, but I think we have 1 member who's not going to be here next
that's a
next
tough
time.
week.
So therefore, it looks like we're going to have 4 people, both this and the following meeting. So each applicant does have the right to wait until they're heard by a full board. We normally find that out a couple of days beforehand. So you have the opportunity to make that decision this evening, preferably before your application is being heard. Okay, so that's pretty much it. If you're going to be speaking this evening, please come to the podium, or if you're an agent of the applicant, state your name, the location, the nature of the variance. So is there anyone who wants to make that decision to adjourn now at this particular point? We have 2 applications, therefore it doesn't look like anyone. So we'll go ahead with the first application. Application ZBA 25-010, John Capistrano and Maricar Capistrano, 300 South Ridge Street, legalize front yard, off-street parking area, and remove 1,445 square feet of impervious coverage by removing additional driveway areas. Please state
Hi, good evening, everyone. Good evening.
your name.
Yeah, my name is John Capistrano, and this is my mom, Maricar Capistrano. We are the owners of 300 South Ridge Street. So, when we bought the house, we were aware that there was a violation found back in 1998, which is the front yard parking court without a permit and without a
They said it was a violation. The extra.
Yeah, please
certificate
speak
of
to the microphone.
certificate of occupancy. Doesn't have it as well.
No, there was that extra driveway. So the house has 3 driveways right now, and the one that was close to the house, the closest one to the house, was the one they said was a violation.
Facing
Is that
Wyman
on Ridge Street or
The
The-
one in Wyman,
Wyman.
Wyman Street.
Do you have the copy of the site
We
plan?
do.
Okay.
Okay.
Let me talk. And also, according to our building inspector, we have an existing non-conforming impervious, which is beyond the allowable of 3,393. So, my architect told me that with this site plan, as you can see, the backyard on the site plan, we're gonna remove the asphalt drive and replace it with the grass. towards the driveway with the chain link fence and stone masonry facing Southridge Street. So we're gonna give that up, put back grass. So in order for us, we would like to keep the parking court facing Wyman Street because it's easier for my mom. Because the driveway facing Southridge Street is actually downwards, and it's really going to take a while to go around and go to the house. The Wyman Street is way better for her and for our children. I have a 2-year-old niece and I have a 5-year-old daughter. It's easier for us and much safer because it's not in the main what do you call this? The main drive, the main road, the main street. It's Wyman Street. It's facing. We have 2 entrances there: the main house and the one on the deck on the side. So it's easier access.
Also, I just want to add that would be the only driveway that will be wheelchair accessible for me, just in case, because I'm a COVID long hauler. I used a wheelchair before when I got sick. So when I'm out of breath, and I couldn't walk, we realized this is the only. If we take away the driveway, it will be very hard for me. If you see the driveway coming from
Southridge.
Southridge, you have to go all around, and there won't be any. It will be too far. And while I'm walking, I had some incidents of sliding. It's slippery when it's cold and it's icy. Both the driveways are. It's not flat. It's downhill, a little bit downhill. The one
The
near
one
the
facing
house
Southridge.
is the one that's flat.
Just so we're
in
clear,
Wyman.
because I actually reread this again today.
Oh.
But I just want to make sure I'm clear on the amount of driveways and where they're located. So I understand you're on a corner property.
Correct.
So one of the driveways is on South Ridge Street.
Correct.
If you turn on Wyman, there is I believe a parking, what's it called, an uncovered parking,
Yeah, that's the one.
Yes,
that,
2. Yeah.
from the area of, I did an aerial view, so I saw, so I don't know how many cars can get on that, but that is a parking, I'll call it a platform for whatever, I don't want to call it a drive or anything. So it's a platform for a car. Is there another one, or is that accommodate 2 cars? Because you said three curb cuts.
Yes,
so-
there's another
There's
one.
another one facing Wyman Street as well.
Yes,
There are 2 on Wyman.
yes,
Yeah,
there
there's
are
2 on
2
Wyman.
on Wyman.
Right, that's what I couldn't open that.
One there, one there.
That one would be for because
And
this
that's
is,
South Ridge there. South Ridge,
Right.
Wyman there and there.
Okay, so the 2 on, okay.
yeah, we have 2.
And I wanted to add something, one more thing, based on our architect. He told me I need to tell you guys. So if we going to put the grass back on facing Southridge Street, it will give us a much closer to the allowable impervious coverage of 3,393.
Where are you putting the grass back?
Facing Southridge Street, there's a
The
backyard. See new grass, remove asphalt drive, all the way to chain link fence and stone masonry retaining wall.
Going to
All of those, we're gonna put it back to grass,
Is that a
be able
parking?
to fulfill the,
so that we'll get closer to the allowable impervious coverage of 3,393.
That long one?
it's a bigger area.
And they're gonna put grass back in.
Yeah.
As part of that.
Are you gonna grass the
Yeah, the whole
South
thing.
Ridge Street
Yes.
as well?
Yes.
No, just that little corner over there. Just this box over here in the
That's
corner.
not South Ridge Street. Okay.
It comes in that way through South Ridge.
Oh,
No, the square thing is the backyard,
All the way.
starting from the backyard all the way to the driveway,
Okay.
going towards Southridge Street.
Yeah.
Mine also.
yeah, so we're just gonna look at this because it was kinda complicated on,
So this is the drive, you turn in here, there's asphalt here, but he's talking about putting some grass here.
okay. And what is this?
That's the
You can
driveway.
go again.
So,
That's the Ridge driveway.
Oh, so there's a driveway, a pretty long driveway.
That's my understanding.
Yeah, it's a pretty
There's
long
one
driveway.
there, there's one here, and there's one here.
Okay, that's what I thought. Okay, so it's almost like at least a two-car on South Ridge in
When
terms of.
when I did my research before they put the Wyman without the permit, so originally back in 1990s, they don't have a gate. So they actually have this Southridge Street going all the way around,
the house.
exiting Wyman Street.
Let me ask a question,
Oh, I
because I'm
see.
a
Oh, I
little
see.
unclear, if you
I-
don't mind.
Okay, so they,
All right, I'm
let me,
sorry.
let me just say, so it was almost like not almost, it's an L. From
Yes.
South Ridge,
Exactly,
you go
yes.
up and you could go around the house. Okay, so both are still there except for the grass in the far corner and the asphalt parking area that you prefer, I believe, right? The first.
With the violation, yes.
driveway on Wyman.
Yes.
On Wyman.
So are you saying that you're going to take the entire Ridge Street driveway and turn it to
Yes.
grass? Or just that area in the corner where that's?
No, no,
cleared?
no, no. The entire.
So there'll be no more Ridge Street driveway?
Yeah, because we like the idea of having a nice backyard grass, And-
fulfill the
yeah.
required.
especially when it rains. It's better.
And
We have
is there,
something like that.
is there any, just so I'm clear, is there any consideration to the, we'll call it the second Wyman driveway, which goes the length of the house to the grass? So that would look like maybe 3 cars, and I'm not really sure, but.
Why 2 driveways left instead of 1?
This is a.
We only have 4 cars, and
This is a two-family.
yeah, it's a two-family home.
It's a two-family.
So we have four total cars, and then we still have space for
The
like
other-
visitors.
The other driveway would be for the second home.
Yeah.
Which has an entrance down there.
Okay.
And then the first one.
But you're the owner of the whole
Wyman would
thing,
be-
right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So just so I'm clear, maybe, and everyone is, the Wyman driveway 1, the first one,
It's for the main house.
okay, and how many cars can fit on that?
Which one?
Yeah,
The
the first one.
The one closest to Ridge.
Yes.
Oh, the one closest to Ridge. Oh, it can fit 2 cars.
Okay, and how many cars on Wyman 2?
Three
Driveway
3
two.
to 4 cars.
I don't think so.
Maybe like 3 cars. Maybe I think 4 is fine because it's a long driveway.
Okay, and isn't there
There's
a
only
requirement
two.
for certain amount of
Ask the building inspector.
building inspector?
Yeah,
Sorry.
maybe he can.
How many cars are required for a two-family house Parking.
Five off-street parking spaces.
within the 25-foot?
Yep.
Okay.
Oh, and also, it says here noted by our architect. So 802 square feet decrease in impervious surfaces outside of property line. 2,000. If you go in the zoning tabulation right at the bottom, so you can follow me, 2,247 square feet of asphalt driveway to be removed and replaced with grass. Some of the total impervious coverage within the property line minus 802 square feet. We're going to be like 3,636, which is closer to 3,393 allowable.
How many cars can fit on the Ridge Street parking?
A lot.
Oh, that's
I
a
think
big one.
that's a big one. So two,
That was
six.
before before they put in the Wyman Street parking, the Ridge Street by itself was sufficient.
Yeah, but actually, I'll be honest with you. We really rarely do use it because it's too dark over there, and it's too far. It's too far. If you park there, we have to go around to go to the entrance.
But it does, so how do you get 6 cars off of South Ridge Street?
Well, it can fit because of the
It-
the square footage. You can park 2 cars side by side,
Yeah.
and then another one at the back, and then another one. Maybe like 4. I think 4.
It doesn't look, I'm just looking at scale, it doesn't look that wide, so I'm not sure how
Is
you
it,
get
is this
6.
this one? This one right on the bottom?
That's already.
Yeah, I think it can fit 4.
2 and 2?
Yeah, 2 back to back.
So 2 side by side and then 2 behind it.
Yes, yes.
And the Wyman 2 can fit 3, but front to back to back to back.
So this one, the long one, is not side by side. It's all back, back,
Right.
back.
Okay,
It can fit 3,
okay.
and then but this one facing Wyman Street, it only can fit 2.
Side by side. Just two.
So at the end of the day, you need to keep 5 spots at least.
Well, we only have. Oh, okay.
Right, Steve? You would need to keep at least 5 spots.
That's the
So
required.
theoretically, it could be anything.
Any
Yeah,
combination.
yeah, I don't know what anyone is gonna say, but it could be Wyman 2 and Wyman 1, or it could be South Ridge and Wyman 2, or whatever, any combination, as long as they have 5,
Okay.
right?
Within the
let
25
me
feet.
ask
We
you
were not aware of that 5.
Let me ask you a question, just hypothetically, if you were allowed to keep one of the Wyman parking spots, which would it be?
Driveways, you mean?
The driveways, excuse
Closer
me.
to me.
Like just one driveway?
If you have 2 driveways on Wyman, hypothetically, if you were only allowed to have one of them,
I
which would you,
I would prefer the one with the 2 cars, that's close.
But we have-
one
The that's
closest to
flat.
Ridge?
No, he's asking
Yeah.
hypothetically, but we have 4 cars.
No, because
Okay. You
still have ridge,
she's,
theoretically.
because she's.
Oh, okay. You still have
She
Ridge?
forgot that.
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll
So
keep the
that's why-
one.
Yeah.
Closest to Ridge.
Yeah.
To mine.
And where is the front of the house? Is that on South
The
Ridge?
one in South Ridge.
The one facing South Ridge is the front of the house.
Is that where it says tile step with roof
Yes.
over?
Yes.
That's the front door.
Yes.
The front door.
We
And
just-
we
yeah.
have access to that door if I need a wheelchair.
Right.
That
In the
thing,
future, yeah.
You will
And-
see that from the front door going to that
Right.
other Wyman.
Right.
the Wyman.
And again, I don't know what anyone is gonna say, so I'm just trying to think here.
I'm sure all these nice people are in here in support.
So, you never know. So, the Ridge Street driveway, which can accommodate 4 cars, is actually closer to the front door than the Weinman, which is,
No,
no?
no, because like I said, it's a long driveway going up.
It's
and you
like
have
this.
To go around.
It's like downhill, yeah.
And allow me to speak. And then you have to go, oh, I'm sorry. Because this is a long driveway, longer, you have to go around to go inside the house. This one has a direct access. It's flat. The first, in the Wyman, the first driveway in the Wyman Street, you will see that pavement there.
No, I'm
That's
not, yeah,
drawn.
I understand the
Yeah,
first one.
it's-
I'm
it's-
trying to, I'm
Yeah,
thinking.
this one
between
is farther away.
Weinman
to go
2,
around, yeah.
is there a back door that people would go out to get to that Weinman 2 driveway?
Yes, it's next to the deck.
Next to the deck, okay.
As you can see on the site plan, wood steps, picket fence, and the wood platform next to the deck. That's the
Okay.
kitchen back door.
Oh,
So the
okay.
Ridge Street side of the house is the entrance for both of the both families?
Well, you can access it, but it's a much longer walk.
Yeah.
That's why normally me and my wife, we park in the Wyman 1, and then my mom and my sister Wyman 2,
Park in Wyman too.
because it's
So
closer.
We rarely use, because also since it is a busy street, it would be hard for us having the kids walk, going around the busy street. Because if I'll be doing the groceries and then,
Also, if you have groceries, yeah.
I feel unsafe.
Right. And you say it's 2-family,
Yes.
is there another
His
fam?
family and
My family.
Okay, okay, okay.
Excuse me, Don, I just want to mention that when the house was converted to two-family in 1999, it would have been 4 parking spots that would have been required. Today's code would be 5.
But they have to comply to today's code.
Right, well, yeah, they're seeking now to, legalize the parking.
Right.
So I just want to make that note.
When you purchased the property, right, a couple of years ago,
last.
No, that's like almost 2 years. Or last year, 2024.
were you
February
aware
last year.
of
Last year.
of all of the challenges of the property? Was it made clear to you when you purchased it through a title search that there were violations?
Yeah, we were made aware in the end that the violation was the driveway, and then I was thinking.
And then we had an
that
escrow agreement with the previous owners so we can close the house because it's taking like 4 months.
And so
So-
everything is settled now?
Yes. Yes.
Now,
Yes.
when you had the escrow, I'm trying to get my hands around it. This property, both from the visual picture on the application and the site visit, and a Google picture, is extremely challenging, because of its location on a very, very busy street. So when you purchased it, it had challenges that needed to be corrected. And so you've taken this approach to correcting it by giving up the Ridge Street access,
Yes.
which I think is very strong in your favor, because anyone who drives by South Ridge Street, between Westchester Avenue and the property line, knows that that's a challenge, to get in and out of a driveway. So I think that's to your favor. So I'm going to ask the building inspector, what is the total impervious coverage on the property now? What's the number?
The existing total is 5,883 square.
5,883?
Correct.
Okay, and what is the square footage allowed, total square footage of the
Impervious
lot?
allowed for that lot size is 3,393.
Okay,
So it's about 2,490 over
right,
existing right now.
right, okay. And they're giving up, they said 800 or something?
We're giving up a total of
They're giving up 1,445 square feet.
Which will, according to the application, result in about 4,400 square feet.
Right.
Correct, yeah, 4,438, 4,438.
Right, right. See, part of the challenge is that when a variance is granted, it goes with the property. So that we have had applications where a request was made, and then X number of years later, the party moves out, and the situation is very different. In other words, a physically challenged person may live there now, but on the resale of a property that no longer exists, but the variance was granted in perpetuity, in other words, because of the previous situation. So one of the things the board has to do is balance, the application needs of the applicant, the needs of the applicant with the overall impact. And right now, the property has very little green space, and you're contributing positively to adding to green space.
Yes,
So
yes.
that's a strong plus in your favor. And I think what we've been asking is, how are those two driveways off Wyman being used? And is there a way to give up more impervious coverage? Have you consulted with your architect?
I actually did, and he said regardless, we still need two driveways. I mean, if we can maybe we can give out a little bit on the sides.
Which one are
In
you
part of
talking about?
21, as you can see on part of 21, next to the chain link fence. That's actually the entrance of the second family
here.
home.
Here.
So it's an asphalt drive too. So maybe I can give like a few in front on the sides, but it's gonna be hard if I give up all of it. It's because it's next to the entrance. If it rains, it's gonna be muddy.
I'm not suggesting to give up all of it. What I'm suggesting is that
Maybe a little bit in front and then
in
the sides.
order to, one of the stipulations that we follow is this the smallest variance possible, given the situation? And we would like to accommodate your needs while at the same time balancing the overage in terms of impervious coverage.
Yeah.
And to see whether or not you can give up more impervious coverage than you're requesting in order to be able to still meet your needs being close to the entrance. And I'm wondering what the impact will be, Steve, if some of that impervious coverage is additionally removed. Will they still have any issues with the 25-foot requirement?
And while you're thinking about that, what is part 19, 20, 21, and part of 19, 20, 21, and 22? What is that in front of the house? You said you could give up a part of that, maybe 21.
Is it facing Southridge Street?
It is along South Ridge Street, correct?
No. They're talking about this one. That's actually a grass already.
Yeah, that's correct.
So-
That's just not their property. That's village right-of-way property.
Right. So I'm trying to figure out, as Don said, if you need 5 spots, how much can you actually give up of the driveway, you still have to be over, right? You still need a variance.
Right.
So if all of South Ridge Street, again, I'm just saying, if that was the one you chose, you'd have two Wyman driveways, which probably fit the 5 cars. Or you know, however they want and whatever these people, you know, have to say, I'd like to hear that as well. But I'm not sure, Don, what else they could give up, because it's,
That's what I'm asking.
Yeah.
The only thing I see is potentially part of.
You guys have, sorry, can maybe speak. You guys actually have a point. That's what I'm thinking too, because if Mr. Steve is saying 5 parking for 2 families, so only part of 21 is the only way I can think of. Maybe just a part of it on a little bit on the side. You know, maybe I can put like,
I thought Steven said that was county property or what?
no, it's on the back, at the back.
I see.
That's asphalt, that part?
Yeah.
In the back?
We just don't like the idea of putting the whole grass on it because, like I said, the entrance of the second family. There's a nice, it's door, and then we go out.
Where is that?
But you can't park a car there.
Oh, I'm
No, no.
sorry, I didn't see,
You can park a car there because there's a
Yeah.
So you're
there's a
gonna
gate.
have grass.
There's a
Yeah.
gate, yeah.
I apologize, I didn't see part 21 behind the
Back.
house.
Yeah.
I saw the south.
So
So-
that's where the back entrance is, at part of 21?
That's the entrance for the second.
For the second
Home.
home, second family. The second family only has one entrance, and that's the only one.
So so the second family would come out the back
Yes,
at part of 21 and then walk up the driveway towards Wyman?
yes, exactly. That's a
So,
gate. This
stupid
chain link
question.
fence gate.
Not a stupid
If you
question.
if you grasped part of 21 and just made a footpath on the grass,
Walkway?
a walkway,
Yeah.
you know,
That's right, that will solve.
you can then use part of 21 as a green area.
The
If you can calculate
Part of
the,
21.
if you can calculate the amount of length for 3 cars.
They're not parking on part of 21.
No, they're not.
That's closed off by a fence. That's
Oh.
purely
Oh.
a concrete area where they would exit the house.
Oh, okay, I see,
Yeah.
okay.
So that has nothing to do
Oh,
with the
I
parking.
see, so it's just
Make it a walkway.
part of 1921 and
That's what Flagstaff
the asphalt
is.
drive is for would fit 3 cars?
They'll still need the 25-foot.
I don't see how they get 3 cars here.
Well, supposedly they do, I don't know.
Yeah.
Oh, 3 cars back to back.
To back up to the chain
Not
link
side
fence.
to side.
Up
Because
to
it's a
the
very,
chain link
very
fence.
narrow. It's not, it's not wide, but it's long.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'd like to hear some of the opposition, which I
Yeah.
presume that's where they're sitting in the audience, but
Well, yeah,
maybe they're all in favor.
just so we're clear, and we can put a little button on your presentation. Your choice, all things being equal, would be to keep the 2 Wyman driveways and grass South Ridge Street,
Yes.
and maybe a little 21 if that helped you. That's what you'd like. Okay.
Yes.
And that will meet your needs.
Yes.
All right, what we're going to do now is, because it's a public hearing, we're going to ask the people who want to speak in favor of the application to come forward, introduce themselves, and then we're going to ask anyone who wants to speak against the application to come forward and speak. And then depending upon what we hear, we'll either ask you to come back up to address some questions, or we'll close the public hearing and deliberate. Okay?
Okay.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so let me now, you can have a comfortable seat.
Thank you.
Is there anyone in the audience who wants to speak in favor of the application? Okay, there being none, hopefully there's a spokesperson for the group. Anyone want to speak against the application? Okay, please come forward, introduce yourself.
Good evening, Mr. Chairman, members of the board. My name is Daniel Tartaglia. I live at 29 Brookridge Court in Rye Brook, which is the townhome development that is just east of this property. I was a little confused by the application. First of all, I didn't understand how there can be an existing violation since 1999 that the village wasn't doing anything about removing. I did notice that there was a full zoning board hearing on this, at least on the issue of the impervious surface and this side driveway on Wyman Street in 1999. And when I spoke with Tara, she did a little research and she found all of those minutes and the resolution from that meeting. I think she added it to the board's packet. But this is a very challenging site. If you've driven by it, you see the PVC fence in the front yard. That fence is the property inside that fence isn't part of this property. It's part of the right-of-way. It's part of the Ridge Street right-of-way. So if you look at the survey that was submitted, you'll see that the property is actually much smaller than it appears, because there's improvements in a right-of-way on both Wyman Street and on Ridge Street. So there's an enormous amount of impervious surface here. And there's, to my knowledge, zero on-site detention or retention of stormwater runoff. Now, just to the east, along the driveway that runs in back of the house that you were talking about, there's a retaining wall. And the retaining wall, and below the retaining wall, there are townhomes from Brookridge, which of late have been experiencing flooding problems. And in fact, in 2022, the association had an engineering study done of that retaining wall, and in one of the recommendations, it said water runoff management from the neighbor's driveway should be discussed and directed to the south. Consider a simple asphalt curb so the rainwater runs directly south to a point beyond the south end of the wall. So the driveway, and the fact that there's no drainage at all, and it's all macadamized right up to the retaining wall, is causing damage to the wall and is causing flooding to the properties below. Now, I didn't really understand the plan all that well. Am I to understand that from the Ridge Street curb cut all the way back is going to, the macadam is going to be removed, and that's all going to be have lawn installed?
I understand it, yes.
Okay. I mean, that's
And we're discussing the area marked as part of 21 as well.
okay. I mean, that's really the issue. The issue is you're being asked to create an exception in a permanently legal situation for an enormous amount of impervious surface that's already causing runoff problems to the property below without any drainage installation whatsoever. And so, I mean, that's the driveway in the front yard. It's not a big deal. I drive there every day, back and forth, back and forth.
When you say front yard, can you?
Ridge Street.
Ridge Street?
No.
Oh.
The one that's the subject of the variance. So it's the small two-car driveway with the
Wyman
curb cut
one.
on Wyman.
Wyman 1, okay.
Okay, that's really not an issue. I live there and I drive by that all the time. There was problems between the curb between the intersection of Ridge Street and Wyman back past the entrance to Brookridge for a while because there was on-street parking permitted. So you'd come around the corner, and you're coming off of South Ridge Street, you're driving probably 40, 45 miles an hour, you're coming down the hill, you make that turn, and there were cars parked there. It was very, very dangerous. So years ago, the association went to the village, and the village installed no parking past the entrance of Brookridge. So that's created a much safer situation there. So again, I'm not speaking for the association, I'm only speaking as a homeowner there. But to me, the driveway in the front yard is not really the issue. The issue is drainage in the back driveway. Anything you can do to alleviate that runoff problem and the damage it's causing to the retaining wall and the units below would be
Right,
greatly
so your
appreciated.
concern, just so I'm clear, is not the existence of the driveways themselves, but simply the drainage issue.
Yeah, because it's all almost the whole site is impervious.
And if the areas that we're talking about turning green were implemented, do you have any idea whether that would resolve the issue or no? I mean, or you don't know?
I don't know, but that's my point. There's been no drainage or engineer looking at this, you know. I mean, there's still going to be sheet runoff. You know, the real answer is to install drainage.
I'm also thinking, as I was saying before, if we do turn what's marked as part of 21 into grass, whether that will help drain from the driveway.
It's all
I
helpful.
don't know how it flows. I don't know. Do you have any knowledge of that?
Yeah, so the South Ridge Street driveway is on a steep incline, so all of that water, as Mr. Tartaglia was talking about, is going to run straight back. So by them taking out that and making all that green, that helps to alleviate the problem. But I think also what Mr. Tartaglia was saying, he would like to see drainage, some kind of a curb along that back driveway to kind of buttress the water that's coming down.
That's what was recommended by the
What
engineer.
what I was asking was, will turning part of 21 and that other area green help drain Wyman 2, what we've designated Wyman 2, that second driveway closer to, the Brookridge area?
Yes, I believe it will.
It's going to improve it, but it's not going to solve it. I mean, there's still a lot of impervious coverage on a very small lot. I mean, a Cultec in the corner there would probably solve the whole issue, you know, and some curbing would help. I mean, somebody needs to take a look at where the water flow is going.
If the water flows down that asphalt toward Wyman, right, where will it go when it hits Wyman?
It doesn't flow toward Wyman.
Where does it flow? Does it flow to Brookridge Court, the
Yes.
street? So, which is
I'm sorry, which parking lot are you talking about?
The
this
Wyman,
2.
Wyman too.
Which is what? The one on
the
one side
Wyman
runs?
closest to you.
Yes.
The one in the back of that, okay.
Yeah.
So where will that water go? If it's, let's say if it's mitigated and some kind of culvert is there, it will flow down toward Wyman from that part where it becomes asphalt. So it goes in that direction. Are they gonna capture it? What would?
I mean, look,
where would that
I'm
water
not a drainage
I
engineer,
know, but
if
we have-
there were some catch basins, yes,
Right.
and you ran a pipe down into the corner, the south west corner of this property, where you see that big square, and you put a Cultec in there, it's gonna capture it all.
So
It's gonna stop running over the retaining wall and doing damage to the retaining wall and the units in the back.
So it sounds like to me the best solution overall, and I'm saying this loudly enough for the applicants to hear this as well, and this is my opinion, is turn green what you were talking about turning green. Turn green what's marked as part of 21. You could put some flagstones so they can walk over it, and put in some appropriate drainage in that driveway.
That'd be a big help. I don't think, again, I'm just speaking for myself. I don't know who else is here this evening to speak on this application, but the driveway on the side, I understand completely what they're saying. If you knew the configuration and the way traffic works, it's really the safest drive, and it's not really creating any drainage issues in and of itself, because it's kind of self-contained.
We can make appropriate drainage part of a condition, correct?
Thank you.
But I don't think.
If we wanted to go that route.
Yeah, but I think we'd need to know what that entails, or the applicant would, because I'm not an engineer.
Right.
And-
Well, Mike Nowak has to chime in if we
Right.
request that.
And, right, and then we could look at that, because I'm only hearing that there's a water issue, but I don't know if, how much there is or isn't, I just don't know.
But we can put that in someone else's hands to make
Yeah.
sure it's resolved appropriately.
Yeah, and then, again, if they do need drainage because of that, then, I guess they could look at their options, right?
Steve, are you familiar with any mitigation that may have been done on this property when it moved from a single-family to a two-family?
No, I'm
Was
not.
there no stipulation? I didn't see it in the C of O.
Yeah, no stipulation on drainage, no.
Okay, so with all of this impervious coverage that exists now, there's very little absorption of water other than that small grassy area that exists now, right? So I think if this application came before us today, it would be denied based on the amount of impervious coverage. You know, if it was a new application, it's just too much impervious coverage. But it's not a new application coming before us now. And so what we're trying to do is balance the needs of the applicant with the concerns with respect to possible water concerns, which is within our purview, you know, to discuss. It is one of the 5 factors that we have to consider, the environmental effect on the neighborhood. It seems to me, and I don't know, well, let me just ask, is there anyone else who wants to speak against the application? Okay. There being none, can you please come forward, the applicant, please come forward. Just want to ask about,
I'm just curious. Maybe I missed this in the beginning. I was trying to log in. How did this come up?
what do you mean?
I mean, where?
They wanted to legalize it because they knew they had an issue.
So they just wanted to legalize it.
No, it came up when they did-
Also, I'm concerned about the flooding in the
it
backyard.
changed hands, it came up.
Wait.
Well, that's what
When the
I'm saying.
property
They knew,
changed
when they bought it, they knew that it was illegal, and now they're
There was
trying
an
to
old
fix.
violation
Now
in
they're, right,
the- in
now
the-
they're trying to fix it.
Title search showed an old violation that came up.
They were just trying to fix it out of nowhere, like
Yes, yes.
nothing else.
Can I just hear the F word again? Flooding?
Oh yeah. I'm also concerned about the flooding and, part of 21 at the back, the one that we're gonna turn grass. So when we bought the house, and there was so much rain, I saw some accumulation of water.
Where is that accumulate? Is it
In-
accumulate? Is it pond?
The big square.
Which is all concrete now. So,
It was asphalt.
asphalt, yeah. So presumably, when we greenify it,
And then, of course, we have our own landscapers. And when we hired landscapers for the first time to do the grass, and they ask us, where is the water drainage? And I don't know how to answer that. We just bought the house,
When did you buy the house?
2024 January.
Oh, okay.
We moved in February last year.
First of all,
Welcome to Rybrook.
we appreciate your concerns about, trying to improve the property and reduce any, it's sort of like walking behind elephants in a parade. You're trying to clean up a mess that you had nothing to do with.
I won't be getting that one out of my mind.
So that is, you ought to be applauded for that. But there is a concern about the flooding, and it would
Yes.
be in your best interest to
Yes.
deal with it when you're doing this, than
And then-
find out about problems later.
Like I said, that square behind is the Brook Ridge property, and then since that driveway is going downward, so when it rains, the flow of water is not going towards South Ridge. It's going down
To the stream?
to that square,
Yeah.
and it accumulates there, and that worries me and my wife.
Okay.
Every time it rains hard, I always gonna check our security camera, just to make sure, because there's no drainage.
It seems as if what we're moving toward is that we need a professional to look at this.
Yes.
And the village does have a professional, Mike Nowak is responsible for that.
That would be great.
And so where I'm coming from now is I would like him to take a look at the situation and to propose a solution
That's perfect.
or multiple solutions.
It's for everyone's safety too.
Right.
Our
Exactly.
safety and the neighbors.
Exactly. And so, go ahead, Steve.
They do have an engineer or an architect who's working, I think Michael Nowak would defer, but their engineer or architect will submit a plan for him to review. And then he could say if that would be sufficient to capture, water. He's not gonna do the design, he's only gonna do a review of what they.
Exactly, okay. Yeah, that makes the most
And
sense.
I'd like to see, to be included, part of 21 also being
Okay.
turned into grass.
And then just put a
Put some
Walkway.
flags for people to walk on. You know, you make like a little walkway.
or like a paver. Okay.
Yeah,
Right, you could even put a railing on there if you want, I mean, but,
yeah.
but what will happen next, I mean, in terms of sequence, you would rearrange that 21, that section 21, that block, moving that toward either all grass with a walkway or partial with a walkway.
I would like partial.
Well,
Maybe like on the sides we can put like a nice garden,
fine,
you
but
know,
that
in
would
front
be,
of the door.
that would mean, you know, a minor revision of your plan.
Yes, yes.
Bring that along with the recommendation of the engineer, okay? Because obviously he's working for you and he's going to look after your interests.
Okay.
And then our engineer, village engineer, will review it and then give us his opinion on the satisfactory nature of that.
Okay.
And hopefully we don't go through a whole set of iterations like the previous owner did in 1999.
And just so we're clear, when you're talking about, I'm going back to part of 21, that whether it's grass, whether it's a garden, just so long as it's not concrete, asphalt, you know.
Pavers.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, and I would also ask if Mr. Tartaglia can submit as part of the record that study that was done, you know, previously for Brook Ridge regarding the water issues, just as a matter of record, okay? I don't think the village received any other comments, positive or negative, is that correct?
That's correct, Don.
Okay, good, thank you.
Thank you.
So what we're gonna do is we're gonna adjourn the meeting until such time that the engineer can look at it and then make the recommendation to the village engineer reviews it, and then we come forth again, hopefully resolving the issue.
But it sounds like we're moving in the right direction.
Definitely.
Okay.
And we
Thank you so
certainly-
much.
Certainly appreciate all the effort that you put in.
Thank you.
And don't worry about the elephants. Most of them are behind us.
Thank you. Have a great evening.
So
Okay.
this is adjourned until.
Yeah, do we make a
review-
motion to
review
adjourn?
Is done and submitted.
What's that?
Like, so why don't we adjourn it to July?
Why don't we adjourn until August, since, because we're not gonna have a full, you can do it in July, but I won't be here.
But no, I thought we'd do July and then we can do it, but whatever.
May I ask a
Maybe
question?
then
I just want to clarify. Do I need to call our engineer or we wait the engineer?
No, your engineer.
Okay. Okay.
Your engineer needs to submit a plan for the water.
Okay. Thank you.
The only thing that we have to decide now is whether we adjourn it to the July meeting. If you close it completely, you'll have to renotice, and we're trying to avoid the need to renotice. So, do you think that all of this will be done in the hands of the village so that it can then be scheduled for the July meeting, or should we just safely move it to August?
Anytime, anytime.
No background music.
Well, as a reminder, Mr. Simon will not be here in July. So,
But who knows who won't be
right,
here in
right,
August.
and, right, and we, oh, right, and then we have one other member who was not here today, so I don't know,
Well,
but he
does this
probably
make
can.
sense?
August,
Does
then
it make
August then.
sense? Adjourn it to July. If as it gets a little closer, you see you're not gonna have it by then, you let the village know and ask for an adjournment to August at that point.
Okay.
It's just a short period now.
So what date?
July.
So August.
If the engineers.
Yeah. At least it will give us time. Okay.
Yeah, and
That's
that
good.
has to be submitted. You don't just bring it to the meeting, you have to submit it to the village.
Okay.
If we move it to August, we'll.
Like give it to Tara, right?
Sufficient
Or Tara or
Yeah.
Laura.
Give us sufficient.
Okay.
Yes. August then.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn, but I'm not sure when they want to adjourn it to.
August, they said
They
August.
said August?
No,
Okay.
yeah. August is fine.
Okay, motion to
That's
adjourn.
perfect.
Give
Yeah.
us
Yeah.
time.
moved.
so we're
August.
not rushing, yeah.
What day?
We still have
August.
to look
It's
for
the
our
first
engineer.
Tuesday in August.
Okay. Thank you. First Tuesday.
Put a little fire under the engineer.
Yeah.
Okay.
You have a good day.
Thank you,
Engineer.
thank you, thank you. Okay,
Steve, thank you very much for the visual aid.
I thought this whole group was for them.
Yeah, yeah.
They thought it was a party. They thought it was a party. They didn't bring cookies.
I was like, this is-
Maybe it's a college class.
I'm just scrolling to get to the application, so please excuse. There was a lot of minutes based on the previous application from 1999. Oh, boy.
Do you need the,
Was the one from 1999 the one they denied something?
Yes, they denied a
So
two-family
but he,
application.
then this gentleman was here, I think, right?
Yeah, yes, he was. He spoke at that time.
Oh,
Mr. Tortaglia, yeah.
because it sounded like he.
Yeah, he was here then for
Yeah.
that.
So, Steve, could you just shed light while I'm scrolling down here as to what happened after that 1999 meeting?
Yeah, from the record, it shows that the 1990 meeting was to try to get a zoning variance to convert to a two-family and to legalize that same off-street parking space. At the time, the board voted and denied the application. Subsequently, about 2 years later, an application was filed to convert and turn it into a two-family, and that application did not go before the ZBA, but was approved by the building inspector at that time. And subsequently, they received a CO for the conversion to a two-family.
Could that ever happen again? Under your watch?
Not under my watch, I don't believe.
Okay, just want to send us, just want to send a signal out to the world, Okay, next application is application ZBA 25-011.
Thank you.
John, thank you. John Berardi and Diana Berardi, 4 Jennifer Lane, Rybrook, New York, 10573. Two variances, minimum required rear yard setback and maximum allowable main building coverage. Please introduce yourself.
Hi, I'm Mark Musticato, the architect for Mr. and Mrs. Berardi. Steve, what do I need to do to bring this up? I can plug the computer in.
Very fair.
So it's interesting. He made it seem like he wasn't at the other meeting.
I think we got it now.
You gotta give them credit for trying to do something.
Absolutely.
That's why I asked.
I thought they were
why he
coming
came
here initially saying we want all three, so.
Yeah, yeah.
I love the technology, huh?
You just turned David's hair gray by shooting that thing at him.
Well, it was a good idea.
These pictures taken at night?
Huh? Something was happening there. No signal. Oh, there we go. Okay. So, let's see, how do I?
All right, Fred, we're gonna need you, oh, here it comes. There you go.
Okay, so let's see, that's my that's my desktop, how do I get away from that? Okay, so I, again, Mark Musticato, the architect from Mr. and Mrs. Berardi. Hopefully, I'm gonna be able to navigate here and get to the pictures and the plans, which the mouse doesn't seem to be reacting. I'll tell you what, I'm gonna use this as a mouse pad and maybe it'll work better. I guess I gotta use the TV here. Here we go. Okay. No? All right, this does not seem to be happening. It's coming up on my desktop and I don't know why it's not coming up for you. Yes.
You probably have multiple monitors set.
Okay. I have to admit that I'm not, I'm not getting it.
Is everything up on the website? You go to the village website and look. Very quickly, if you
Yeah.
right-click on your screen and
I'd be
probably
so
change
impressed
the
if he actually could do
settings.
this.
Control F4.
I have no idea. I'm gonna go call my kids.
Let me,
This would be pretty impressive.
Yeah.
I hope your pickleball game doesn't come up as.
where's the, I'm trying to get into your screen, and for some reason that's not coming up.
Be able to throw the laptop on an auxiliary screen.
Usually you right-click on the screen, you get properties.
Ah,
Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not getting
it
it.
went down.
We all have the pictures and everything, so
Okay.
you can just go ahead and we'll take it from there.
Okay. All right. So again, Mark Masticato for Mr. and Mrs. Berardi. What we're proposing is to add an open wood deck and a roofed deck area at the rear of the property. And we are requesting two variances, a rear yard variance of 8.1 feet. The requirement is 30 feet, and we would have a rear yard setback of 21.9 feet. And also a variance for lot coverage for the principal building by adding the roofed section of the deck. It increases the coverage of the principal house because it has a roof. So the reasons we're requesting this, the rear yard is sloped right now. It's shallow and really doesn't lend itself to any kind of use for outdoor entertaining, dining, any of the above. So there really is no usable outdoor space in the rear yard. And, we looked at various different options. One was doing some kind of a patio. Because of the slope of the property, that would require regrading and increase of impervious surface, so we decided that was not the way to go, and then the wood deck was the more logical solution. So adding the wood deck would allow them to have an area where they could have a table outside, have a seating area outside, be able to dine outside and entertain outside, and also having a roofed area would give them some protection from when it rains, and if they want to sit outside, and also some shelter from the sun. The property abuts Crawford Park, so we have no rear neighbor. So we're not really, by being closer to the property line, we don't really impact the privacy of any neighboring property. I did want to, maybe I can actually show you the laptop. I want to show you a picture, if I can get this off of here. Because of,
Was it included in the application?
what included in the
Picture
application?
that you want to show us?
This is not.
Oh,
This is something that John had just sent to me not too long ago. And so because, I'm going to unplug this, because of, of course, now
Do you
everything
want to give
comes
them
up.
a mic?
Because of the inability to use the rear yard, they've had to basically, when they entertain, do it in their driveway. So I just want to,
He's getting you a mic so you can speak to it. Oh, that looks like fun.
Well,
that's their Memorial Day barbecue.
what's interesting is, I was going to say, you have these photos, but I drove there on the way home because I'm in Lincoln. I said, oh, for Jennifer. So I'm passing. I said, let me just look. So I drove by, and I thought it was interesting because I actually saw this umbrella in the front. So it's not just that you said you can't use that backyard. That umbrella was telling me that this is a front yard,
Yes.
driveway, party house.
Well,
Right.
yes, and they'd like to try and
Right.
not have to continue doing that.
Yeah.
So,
How steep is the drop from the house to its lowest point in the back?
the steps, the elevation from the first floor to where you would walk out is probably about 3 or 4 steps the way we're proposing it now, to the higher side of the property. The property slopes, if you're in the rear yard, slopes from left to right, probably about 4 feet, 4 or 5 feet.
So the difference in grade is about 4 feet?
Yeah, about 4 or 5 feet from one side to the other. And that's why the deck is the logical solution, because it gives you a level area without impacting any of the existing contours or drainage patterns or anything like
Are
that.
you within the deck coverage ratio?
Yes, the deck coverage, we're okay. So the two coverages, the two variances we would need is that rear setback being closer to the
Right.
Crawford Park property line, and also by having a section of this deck roofed, that now increases the coverage of the principal building.
If you did not have a roof on the deck,
Yes,
that would eliminate one of the variances?
it would.
What, one of the questions we always ask is this the smallest possible variance to be granted to meet the needs of the applicant? So,
Well, we believe it is. I mean,
I know you believe, but
we
what
believe.
is the dimension, what are the dimensions of the two?
It's 14 from the house out.
Yeah, it's
I'm
14
just getting
from
it
the
for
house.
the record.
I know.
Yeah.
I'm just,
Yeah, give me 1 second here. I know I can't show you this, but I can look at it myself.
that's always what I look at.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so it is 14 feet across, out from the house,
Yeah.
so the open area is 15 feet wide, so that's a 14 by 15 foot area. So that's an area where you could the idea was to create an area where we could have a table seating and also have an area for casual seating. Whether that goes under the roofed area or in the open area, they're kind of interchangeable. So the roofed area would be 18 and a half feet wide by 14 feet deep, and the open deck area is 15 by 14.
Structurally, can the top of the covered area be expanded into something other than what it is being proposed?
No.
Can you,
No, it's not designed for that. And, if you're saying, could you build expand the second floor on top of that?
I'm saying if we grant the GFA increase,
Right.
okay, and someone wants to build on top of it in the future.
They would, structurally, this is not designed to support.
Yeah, I know
additional living space.
structurally,
So you would basically have to demolish what's there.
but if we give
Be
the
able to support it.
GFA,
Well, also, you would create a substantial new variance for FAR if you created new additional space on top of that. Because if you created, let's say,
Right,
expand the
right.
second floor over that, now you've added floor area.
because normally what we do is we condition porticos in the front so that nothing can be built on top of it. And I'm just concerned that if we,
Do the same in the back?
I don't think we have any issue with a condition that we can't build on top of
good,
it, because
good,
that's not the
fine, that-
intention.
That's very helpful, okay. It's helpful that there are no neighbors in the back other than bears, deer.
Well, it's one of the
whatever.
reasons why we're proposing what we're proposing, to tell you the
Right,
truth.
right, understand. Any other questions? Okay. Members of the party in the front lawn, anyone want to speak in favor of the application? Anyone want to speak against the application? Are you for or against?
For
Okay, good. State your name and your address, please.
Alex Saghetti at 2 Jennifer Lane, so immediately to the Lincoln Ave side of the Berardi's house. Yeah, certainly in favor of my neighbors using the backyard in a way that they can turn that space to be functional and without disturbing the slope or any drainage or any ability for me to feel safe in my yard, which is immediately to their left, which is down the slope from where the Berardis are at 4. So, yeah,
So you're
from-
closer to Lincoln?
correct.
Okay, good, all right.
Yeah.
It looks like it's pretty crowded in the front there, and facing Jennifer, the 2-4, it's pretty crowded. A lot of landscaping, a lot of stuff going on there. I rode right by 4, and then I had to back up and look again. But we're looking at pictures of the existing house, and there's really nothing there now, so putting the deck there shouldn't be too intrusive to anything in the back. Yeah. Thank you very much.
Yeah.
Anyone else want to speak in favor? Please come forward, state your name and your address, please.
My name is Christine Minahan Weimar. I live at 3 Jennifer Lane, directly across the street from the Berardis. We've been their neighbors for 35 years, and if you grant this variance, or these two variances to the Berardis, they won't have to invite us every time they have a party, because we look right across the street at them, so they're obligated to have us come.
It's one less BYOB, that's the problem.
Exactly.
Yeah, okay.
Exactly.
All right, thank you, thank you. Anyone else want to speak in favor of the application? Okay, there being none, can I have a motion to close the public hearing? So moved. Public hearing is
Second.
closed, okay. The only concern I had was the size issue and
And not building up.
not building up, yeah. So, can you work on that, Bob, the condition?
Just one other thing, Don. What about I mean, it's a porch, but could it ever be enclosed? Fully enclosed? and
Enclosing it
maybe-
would create another, that would require an FAR variance. So it's not something that could just be done with a permit.
I'm not sure how, if it's already factored in to the,
It counts in the coverage, but it doesn't count in the floor area ratio as an
if you
open
wanted to
porch.
make it a Florida room?
It would then need an FAR variance
Okay, you're right.
and have to come back here.
Yeah, that's what I thought. Okay, with respect to the 5 factors, self-created,
Yes.
would you say substantial?
Yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes.
You think? Okay, and satisfied with as small as possible, meet the needs? Okay. Okay, let me go ahead and read the application, resolution. Whereas application has been made to the Zoning Board of Appeals by John Berardi and Diana Berardi, together the applicants, for variances in connection with the construction of a rear roofed porch and open rear wood deck at property located at 4 Jennifer Lane in an R10 zoning district, approximately 100 feet from the intersection of Lincoln Avenue and Jennifer Lane, designated and shown in the tax map of the Village of Rybrook as parcel ID number 135.57-1-14, the property, whereas the applicant seeks relief from the following requirements of the Rybrook zoning code. First, Section 250-22, Part G, Item 3, the minimum required rear yard setback is 30 feet. The proposed rear roofed porch and deck will result in a rear yard setback of 21.9 feet, thereby requiring a rear yard setback variance of 8.1 feet. Second, Section 250-30, Section Part B, the maximum allowable main building coverage is 20%. The proposed rear roof porch and deck will result in a main building coverage of 26.5%, thereby requiring a main building coverage variance of 6.5%. Whereas a duly advertised public hearing was held on June 3rd and closed on June 3rd, 2025, at which time all those wishing to be heard were given such opportunity. And whereas the proposed action is a Type 2 action pursuant to the New York State Environmental Quality Review Act, and accordingly no further environmental review is required. Whereas the board, from the application after viewing the premises and neighborhood concern, and upon considering each of the factors set forth in Section 250-13, Section G, Part 2, Items 2A through E of the Rybrook Code, finds for the variances above. The requested variances will not have an adverse impact to the character of the neighborhood. The benefit the applicant seeks cannot be achieved through another method feasible for the applicants to pursue that does not require the variances. The variances are substantial. The requested variances will not create any adverse impacts to the physical or environmental conditions of the neighborhood. And 5, the need for the variance is self-created. Now therefore be it resolved that said application is hereby provisionally granted on the following conditions. No permit or certificate of occupancy shall be issued until the applicants have paid in full all application and consultant fees incurred by the village in connection with the review of this application. Okay? Yep. Okay, second, the condition.
The second condition would be that the property owner should not build on top of the structure. And the third would be that the structure shall not be enclosed.
Okay, thank you. Okay, Steve is excused. Glenn?
Yes.
Yes. Jamie?
Yes.
Joel?
Yes.
Don, yes. Application approved. 4 yeses, 0 nays, 1 excused. Congratulations. Okay, party in the back now. Okay,
Good night, thank you.
take care now.
It'll all be over July 4th.
The last item is the approval of the May minutes.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, minutes approved. Motion to adjourn.
So adjourned.
Okay, adjourned, motion is adjourned. There you go, Bob, thank you very much.
The funny thing is, when we were first looking at